Welcome to the DIY macrame, I think 6-inch macrame 6-inch terracotta planter hanger. So this is a pretty simple project. It won't take too much skill level. Takes a little bit of time. It'll take at least 20 minutes to finish. You will need yarn, and you'll measure it to the length that you want to hang it. So that is what I am doing here. I doubled each strand, and I have a total of 3 strands. So actually that is a total of 6 strands. You could also make one double long strand, and that is what I did here. So I have 3 strands that are double long, and I actually ended up tying them to the holding strand in the middle. This project can be done with any color yarn. It can be done with any type of yarn: acrylic, wool, cotton. Cotton is very nice. Here is your planter. This is the strand that will hold the terracotta planter to the strings that will hold it up. So you want to wrap it at least twice for a small pot like this. It's the lip there that you're trying to catch, so you want to make sure your string goes under that. This tie here is where you will be putting the tassel. I suggest tying the knot as close as you can to the pot. Take one of your double long strands and I used a knitter's needle here, so I thread the strand and went under the double strand, and I'm pulling it so that both sides are even distance away from the pot. And then I'm going to tie it in a knot. I tied the ends first on that one, but I'll go back and untie it. And then I tie the end. Next strand, you're going to do the same thing, only a third way around the planter. Thread your needle excuse me, this one has 4 strands, so I went halfway around the pot. Hopefully it won't take you too long to make another strand. You could essentially do 3 strands instead of 4, and you would only tie the strands like in a peace sign, so 3 strands, each a third way around the pot. Just trying to make the knots at the end about the same distance away from the pot. Threading my needle. Tying the 3rd strand directly in the center of the other 2. Tying the end, trying to get it about the same distance. It's going to be off just a little bit, but that's okay. Threading my needle. You should be an old pro at this by now. Tying the end about, well, I guess where this one was. I figured I'd seen it 3 times already. I'm going to pull all 4 together to the center above the pot, and I'm going to tie one more time all the strands together. Same knot that I had been doing on the individual strands. So we're going to make a tassel. Got the yarn, we know about how long the strands are on the pot. We're going to make the spacing between our fingers about that long. And we're just going to wrap the string around enough times until you think you have the thickness of a tassel you would like. Keep wrapping, cut the string. You're going to need one more piece of string after that, at least as long as one full wrap and a half of what your fingers were spread out to be. Tie it through the center where your fingers were. In a knot. And you're going to end up wrapping the top. So drop one side, pull one side of the string that you just tied in a knot. Wrap the top as if you're making a little head, like if you're making a doll, a little head of yarn there. So squishing it and wrapping it. Just like that. Then you're going to take the other side and go in the other direction, once or twice. Then you're going to tie it in a knot. Cut the center and the extra strings that fall too low, that fall on a line there. There is your tassel. One more piece of string, about as long as a double long length of tassel. Thread your knitting needle. Thread the needle through the center of the head of the tassel. Now where the threads were there, the extra ones that just dangled on your potter, thread the needle through there. Take the string that you pushed through and tie it around the threads that were already there. This is just like you made the head on the tassel. So you may need it a little longer. I guess a length of a double tassel and a half again would be good. And then you do the other side, wrap the other side of the string towards you, or towards the opposite direction, and tie it like you did with the head of the tassel. And cut off any too long strings, and you should be done with this part. The next part that I incorporated into my macrame hanger was a handmade bead. I used salt dough to make mine. It has a very earthy feel. You can essentially use any beads that you like as long as the hole that has been cut out in the bead is wide enough to fit the 4 strings of the planter. So, show you how I made mine out of the dough. The dough is already made. I keep my extra dough in the fridge. And I've got tin foil over it to keep it from drying out. In this piece I'm going to make a probably 2.5 inch bead. It's about about 3/4 of an inch wide and about 2 inches to 2.5 inches long. I just roll the dough back and forth between my hands. It's pretty cylindrical, and I'll put it on a well-loved baking sheet. This is more of a pie pan, but it works just as well. I'm going to use a wooden dowel to make the holes in my bead. It's important to get all the way through, so make sure you're hitting the other end, hitting the pie plate, and just move it around. It's like drawing a little circle on the other side of that dough. The edge of my dowel is flat, so I'm working with a flat surface. I wouldn't work with a pointed surface for this part of the project. Making sure that everything on the other side is open and that the hole of the bead is wide enough. The side of my stick got sticky, so I used the other side for this hole. I will bake this for about 5 hours at 200 degrees Fahrenheit in the oven. And when it is cooled, it is just the right color for a natural wood look to the bead, and I will hang it on my macrame holder. I will thread all 4 of my strands through the bead, and it will be done. So here it goes. This is what it looks like.